So you know that 1963, Kennedy was worried about society ending, the pigs, the Cuban Missile Crisis. So we sent 600 people on a 100-year journey. You know all this, right? And time stopped for them in 1963. Everything stopped. They don't know he was shot. They don't know about the civil rights movement. They don't know about the female revolution, Watergate, the Beatles, 9/11, anything. So their evolution basically was fresh from that point on. And everything is controlled. The birth is controlled. They have, their mates are picked by computer who they're going to have babies with, but they could sleep pretty much with anyone they want because they have these Norplans put in, these early Norplans. So it's a parallel society. It's a microcosm of humanity. And some of the really cool things about it is that, the civil rights situation in 1963, in January, forget about it. It was a mess. But the Kennedy brothers were incredibly forward-thinking, especially Robert. And so our second in command is black. Our officer, our XO is black. And they wanted it the way they wanted it. So, but a caste system arose on its own in the ship in 51 years. There's a caste system that wasn't put in place. It's just like we're the assholes upstairs and the normal people are downstairs, So part of my language, but you know what I mean. So I think it's a potentially brilliant. I don't think this is your typical show. I think that he's so smart, Phil. He's like Beau Willimon from House of Cards, or he's so interesting and so smart that this has incredible layers to it. There's so much potential for scenarios of where we, as here on Earth, where we have gone, where we shouldn't have gone, where we might go, as opposed to this experiment of 600 people, where they went and where they didn't went and how they went there. So,
Well, I was curious. I know you've had a great career, but one of my favorite characters you played was in Sopranos on HBO. It's one of my favorite shows of all time.
Can I just tell you one thing? I have to cut you off. Since 1998, I've never not done an interview and not been asked about The Sopranos. You're the first one ever today. And I did like 10 interviews. Usually it's the first thing everyone asks. Nobody asked about it except for you. All day.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, this is really interesting. The sci-fi thing is really, so I'm glad you did.
But I have to ask though, in that role you have a certain style. Are you a trustworthy character in this show, or are you going to be one of the good guys? You're kind of in between.
I have to play this guy, and I try to play all my characters that I am a trustworthy guy. Because even Mikey Palmici,
Right.
he thought he was doing the right thing for him and Uncle Junior. I mean, he thought he was doing right.
That's true.
And so I do believe that I'm unhappy with the present captain on the ship, and I'm having an affair with his wife. I'm allowed to say that, Dave. And it's one of the reasons why I took the job. It's Tricia Helfer. So I think that I'd be a better captain, and I'm trying to get enough evidence where I could have him voted out of power and I'll become the new captain. So I think that what I'm doing will be better for the ship in my mind. Everybody else will decide whether that would be true or not, and if I'm a jerk or I'm right. So I have to play all my characters that they think they're doing the right thing, even if you're playing Hitler.
Yeah.
You gotta play it that way because that's what these idiots think. And if you don't play it that way, then you're just playing like some bad guy that you can't even really, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Mike, The Sopranos was so much fun. It was just unbelievable.
You're a councilman on the ship?
Yes, I'm a councilman. I'm one of the senior councilmen, and I'm the political muscle on the ship. And Brian's the captain, Tricia's his wife, and as I said, I'm trying to take his job.
Is the captain similar to a mayor? There's no mayor then on the ship.
Yeah.
No civilian authorities like.
Yeah, but remember, he's military too. So, he's the mayor, he runs that ship.
So there is no mayor for the civilian part.
No, I guess there isn't. I guess that would kind of be me, even though I don't know that title. Like, I'm the senior guy of the councilman. So I'm not called the mayor, but I'd be the closest thing to a mayor. But it's more, if the Kennedys put it together, it's probably just a round table, like Camelot, equal group.
Well,
there is no mayor.
Trying to determine whether there was some sort of tension there from the standpoint of a military-industrial complex from the 60s versus civilian government, if that was something that...
And that's
Phil's
exactly
working
what
on,
was
you know.
really happening in 1963 too, after Eisenhower. Yes, let's hope you're right. Let's hope you're right, and there is something there like that. I'm going to add that to my next episode. Thank you.
I get credit, Tom.
That's right. But it probably is there already, you know, Phil. I mean, believe me, it's probably there. But let me put it this way. It's definitely there. I'm sorry. And there's a whole part of this story that we can't tell you. And when you find out about it, it's going to blow your mind, literally. It's going to blow your mind. Trust me. And you remember I said that when you're watching this and you come to later episodes. So yes, it is there.
Well, we know about the gun already.
That's nothing compared to what I'm talking about. It's really, honestly, it's you'll see. But we can't say anything because it'll ruin the whole thing. But
What was it like for you the first time that you walked on the giant set?
you know, the sets. I was in Godzilla recently, and I had a small role, but these sets they spent a fortune. It's literally 5 or 6 stories high. They built a real beach. It's supposed to be on this ship. These sets are unbelievable. I was actually, my jaw dropped a little bit. My quarters are amazing. Tricia and I spend a lot of time there. You know, so it's I hope it's as cool as I think it's going to be. That's for sure. I certainly hope so.
Now, are there waves on the beach?
Are there waves?
Waves.
Yes.
Do you have waves?
Yes. Yes, they're artificially made, of course, but and that's also doubles as the water reclamation, and all the food is grown, everything. It's a self-sustaining universe with 600 people, and you can't have a birth until someone dies. You know.
Tricia said your character was born on Earth and you were a child when
Yeah, Tricia, she's got a lot of nerve. Yes,
You're
I mean,
older,
yes,
no?
you figure I'm older. I would have had to have been maybe 5, 7 years old when like my parents took me, and also, so you have the best and the brightest, right, as the Kennedys put it. But this is the second generation. You have no guarantees with kids. They could be thugs, half of them. You know what it's like. It's a DNA. So now you have the second generation, and a lot of things can come up. You know, these are not hand-picked people that pass tests and the kids are allowed to pick their own apprenticeships, but they don't have to be approved. You know, so it's an amazing concept, I have to say, and it's original. It's got a little bit of Mad Men, a little bit of Lost, a little bit of Star Trek, a little bit of Dynasty.
Now, is your character married and do you have children?
Not that I know of.
Oh.
And I deliberately haven't asked.
Because she mentioned that her and her husband weren't able to have children because it was past that point when somebody had passed away.
I have not asked deliberately if I had a wife and kids yet. I don't want to know.
Hasn't come up yet.
Hasn't come up. I didn't want to know. I'm assuming that I don't, but why wouldn't I?
Wouldn't you have been impaired at some point?
Yes, like why wouldn't I have a wife?
Maybe it was your wife that was murdered.
Maybe. No. I know she wasn't murdered. Maybe I killed her.
And the captain's next.
Yeah. No, I can't wait. And I would assume, and I'm just assuming, this is a Phil question. I'd assume that it would turn out that he would be married. And my wife has not come into play yet. But I didn't.
Would you have an affair with the guy's wife?
Yeah, because it was more fun for me to have the affair as an actor thinking I wasn't married. That this was just, hey, you know.
Well,
but I think it's going to turn out I am.
There wasn't some revenge in there on the captain, right? You're trying
No, I
to...
don't want revenge. I just want him out. I actually play it where I like him. But I think I'm better for the ship. That's as an actor, you could play it that I hate him and I think you got to make these choices as an actor that make it more interesting. And playing it that I like the guy, but I just think I'd be better, makes a whole more interesting relationship when I do scenes with him. If I play it where I don't like him, there's nowhere to go. Am I done?